Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's 1 million by 1 million strategy roundtable for entrepreneurs. 1M, as you know, is the first global virtual accelerator for technology startups in the world. Our mission is to help 1 million entrepreneurs reach $1 million and beyond in annual revenue. And in support of that mission, we do these free mentoring roundtables week after week, year after year. This is the 719th session. Recordings of every single one of these roundtables are available on our YouTube channel. Hundreds of thousands of people have participated in these sessions over the years. And it's been an amazing experience working with so many entrepreneurs from in so many different corners of the world. We've also introduced Sramana Mitra's Digital Mind and AI Mentor for startups. This AI Mentor, the link is available here. Maureen will put it on your screen, on your Q&A. The AI Mentor basically works 24/7 and works in 57 languages. So I don't speak 57 languages, but if you are from a corner of the world where English is not really as prevalent and you want to work with me in a different language, chances are you will find that language supported and should be able to work with us in that language. I want to set some expectations before we get going with the entrepreneur pitch sessions. These are working sessions, okay? They're not Shark Tank. We're not trying to entertain millions of people. We are trying to work together and help you move forward. My only agenda is to give you handles with which you can move forward. That's the only reason we do these free mentoring roundtables. If you disagree with my feedback, that is your prerogative. It's your venture, so you can do whatever you want with the feedback I give you. I would suggest that you consider the feedback because it is based on a lot of experience, but it's really up to you. We're going to start with Alvin Prabhu from Coimbatore, India. Alvin, please unmute your line and let's get going.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you fine.
Okay. So hi everyone. So this is around 8:32 p.m. here in Coimbatore, India, and I don't know what time there is. So it's good morning or good evening. It's really happy to see you all. Okay. Good morning. So I'm Alvin Prabhu here. So I'm a 22-year-old founder. I'm a solo founder, and I'm currently working on a startup called Welcome. So it is an AI-based reception bot that I'm working on for the past 1 year. So there are a few slides that has been given. So I would like to go on slide wise. So let me start with the customer and value proposition. So let me start with who's the customer. So we are mainly focusing on the 3-star and 5-star hotels that have high occupancy, and we are usually typically categorized into a few property profiles, such as let's say if the hotels have 40 to 150 rooms, and if have a high business travel occupancy, and it also have a peak check-in congestion and a limited front desk staffing. So these are the profiles that we're looking for. And our value proposition is that Welcome is an reception assistant bot that improves check-in efficiency hassle-free. So the key points that I've added here is it reduces the front-end desk congestion, and it also pre-processes the guest in workflows. It supports the staff, but it does not replaces them. And we also have customized bots based on the hotel's requirements. And we have a premium brand perception so that they could customize these bots as well. Next slide, ma'am.
Alvin, can I ask you a question before you move to the next slide? What is the usage model? Are people interacting with your product through their own device or through a tablet or something that's at the reception? What is the user experience?
Okay, so this is basically a bot. It's around 5'6" a bot. Let's say if you're entering a hotel and this welcomes you with the gesture such as namaste or vanakkam, just like this.
Robot.
Yes, it's a bot, robot.
Okay.
And we have an integrated display with the bot, which have let's say here in India, we do follow few restrictions and terms and conditions where they would be asked for the government verification, and to continue with the payment process, we use debit card or credit card. So there's a process where it takes around 5-10 minutes to complete the check-in. So this could be done hassle-free using the bot.
And your assumption is there will be one bot per reception?
Yes, ma'am.
Does that really reduce the congestion?
Yes, it does. So I have taken an analysis here in India where, let's say, uh, if you are a group of peers who are coming and taking a reservation here in an hotel, uh, it takes around 5 to 10 minutes to complete the reservation based on the peak time and the reservation process based on the hotel policies. So we could reduce the time by 1 to 2 minutes as such.
1 to 2 minutes? That's not going to be enough
Yes.
for people to make that big a change in their workflow.
Okay.
Your entire value proposition is you change check-in time by 1 to 2 minutes. That is not gonna cause people to adopt this technology. Do you have any customers? Have you worked with any customers?
No, it's currently in the ideation process.
Ideation process.
Ideation, yeah.
Okay, well, that's great because ideation process means that you don't have to move forward with this idea if this idea is not, a great valid idea. So my first feedback to you is if your value proposition is not a very substantial improvement, I would not do this business. So the first feedback I'm going to give you is that is there something you can do that does not involve bringing in a robot, but you can really speed up the process where people can just log in from their own devices and just check in and be done with it. It's basically a digital check-in process that they come these days. If you go to, at least in the US,
Okay.
you go to a hospital. If you are part of a hospital system that has this kind of check-in process set up, you can check in advance. You have the hospital's app on your phone. You basically check in, do online check-in, and you're done. All airlines are doing this as well, right? Online check-in. So why not hotels? The only problem is that you're going to, if there are multiple hotels involved, what is going to be the entry point into the portal of the hotel to do this check-in? But I think doing a robot for saving 1 to 2 minutes per check-in, I don't think it's going to work. I don't think you're going to get any adoption. It's just the ROI is just not there to do it.
So I have few points to add on with this.
Okay.
So there's a tradition where the guests have been welcomed by the frontline staff here in India. So to convert the process, I mean, to change the process of how the guests see in a different perspective, I feel like a bot could change otherwise. Let's say if we already know that you've booked a room there in the hotel, it greets you with the name and it greets you with the language that the region you're in, and it greets you with the welcome drink, and it completes the checkup with the interactive display that we have. So that's the major idea that I was working on to implement in a different way. Let's say to greet a customer in a different perspective was something that I had in my mind.
And what is the cost of this bot?
Comes around 2 to 5 lakhs rupees.
See,
In rupees.
it doesn't cost that much to have actual human beings do these things. 2 to 5
Yes,
lakh
it does.
is a very significant amount of money. So have you talked to hotels? Have you done any validation work?
Yes, ma'am. I did talk to a few hotels, and they told me like actually they have given a few process on how hotels work, how check-ins work, and how rooms have been booked. And as I'm in the current ideation process, I'm there are a few crises here going on in India right now, in short of LPG and petrol. So I'm not able to directly go to hotels and approach them right now.
Well, I wouldn't move forward with this business without actually hearing from hotels that they're going to use this product at this price point. This is a very significant amount of money that you're asking small hotels to spend, mid-sized hotels to spend. And it may be a lot easier for them and a lot nicer. Frankly, from a guest point of view, would I want some robot to give me a welcome drink and check me in? I would prefer a human being to do that. So there are two issues. Unless there is a very, very significant cost saving and time saving and experience enhancement, I don't think hotels would adopt this technology. But instead of relying on my input, you should actually try to validate this with customers. Our philosophy and methodology in 1Mby1M is that you work with customers to validate or invalidate your idea. So you need to go talk to your prospects, hotels, actual hotels, the buyers at actual hotels. You have to find who is responsible for making decisions like this and talk to those people and ask them, at this price point, 2 to 5 lakhs, are you going to buy this product? Are you going to implement this product? Does it offer you significant value, etc.? So you're very young. This may not be the idea on which you want to spend 3, 5, 10 years of your life. You should find a better idea. I think there are a lot of better ideas than this. This is not a good idea, in my opinion, but you can validate or invalidate it directly with customers. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. See, entrepreneurship is a lot of time commitment. A lot of time of your life goes into entrepreneurship if you decide to pursue an idea. And I would suggest that you do not commit that kind of those numbers of years, precious, invaluable years of your life on an idea that doesn't have legs. My sense is that this idea does not have legs, but as I said, our philosophy is to validate or invalidate with customers. So by all means, Alvin, go ahead and talk to customers and decide whether you want to pursue this idea or not. Now, as far as, let me answer your questions on solo founder. You can work as a solo founder, and these days, depending on what you are building, if you put in front of you some challenge like building a humanoid robot, that is a very challenging thing, and that is an expensive product to build. But if you're building a software product, a digital product, you can prototype it with, Lovable or any competitor of Lovable. There are many competitors of Lovable in the market. There's Emergent in the Indian market as well. And you can build a prototype yourself and you can start selling. The most important thing as a solo founder and as any founder that you need to do is start validating by actually working with customers. And MVP is something that you should try to develop yourself. That's another litmus test that you should go through is this something that you can build a quick MVP on? And if not, then it is going to be very difficult to get your product into market. Your second question, what traction level should be achieved before pursuing pre-seed funding? It depends on what your business is. This particular business, I don't think is going to work. So I don't want to answer this question on the basis of this particular business, but traction level is very much a function of your business. What business are you going after? What aspects should I prepare before pitching investors? What are the most effective online and offline channels for early stage founders to approach investors? I will explain to you how to use 1 million by 1 million. 1 million in 1 million by 1 million, we teach you all of this. What does a pitch deck contain? What you need to do from a strategic planning point of view? What are the issues that you have to address? I'll explain to you all that. All of that is addressed through 1 million by 1 million, including investor introductions. So of the programs that will really get you in front of investors, 1Mby1M is one of the best. But you do need to be ready to go to investors. We're not going to send you to investors prematurely. That is something that destroys our credibility, and then investors are not going to look at what we send them. What is the best strategy to scale hardware-enabled SaaS businesses like 1Mby while remaining capital efficient? I don't think this business is going to forget about scaling. So I don't want to answer this question on the basis of this particular business. From an investor perspective, should 1Mby be positioned primarily as a robotics company or as a hospitality operations technology? Again, same answer. I don't think this business is going to work. So there's no point answering this question. Okay.
Thank you.
You can do this business with an iPad or something that people pass around, and there could be 5 tablets, 10 tablets that you circulate, and people just take it and fill it in, and that may be a way to do this business, but not with a humanoid robot, which is an expensive product, and I don't think the value proposition is strong enough. Especially in a place like India where labor is cheap, human beings love human hospitality. This is India. India is used to cheap labor and high-touch customer service. If you were talking about Japan, I would perhaps look at it a bit differently. Japan is really heavily into robots. I doubt that Indian psychology is going to adopt this kind of a product, but you should check with your potential customers.
Thank you.
Okay. You can ask more questions after I'm done with the pitches. I'll have time to take questions, okay? And I will explain to you about how to use 1Mby1M in a little bit. Dipesh Goel from Bangalore, you are up next.
Hi, greetings of the day. I'm Dipesh Goel and I'm based out of Bangalore. So my pitch is on an edtech startup called Innopreneurship.
Okay.
And the motto of this venture is igniting innovation, empowering future entrepreneurs. Can we go to the next slide? So I'll start this by our Prime Minister. The more we give importance to skill development, the more competent will be our youth. So what problem our youth is facing right now is that they're not getting jobs based on degrees and qualification. And the majority of the corporate or the industry is looking for certain skill sets which are missing in these individuals. And these students which are in class 10 or high school, or let's say primary, they are the most vulnerable because things are going to be much different than what it is right now in the future. So there is a need to do holistic development. Also, there is a requirement to create more entrepreneurs in the future. So I have defined the problem statement here. How might we develop an innovative after-school program that functions as an experiential lab where employability skills are embedded in daily experiences, where learners move from a rote learning mindset to a problem-solving mindset, by enabling them to learn hard and soft skills, industry-level skills, to high-rigor problems.
Is there a problem with your internet?
When the COVID struck, and are you able to hear me, or what is the issue?
Your voice is breaking, so I was asking if there's a problem with your internet connection. In that case, you could also turn off your video and speak through without trying to. Yeah, it's not
Is
right.
it better now?
Yeah, it's significantly better actually. Okay, go ahead, please.
Okay, great. So I was talking about the problem statement and then why entrepreneurship and how it started. So this started way back in 2021 when we were suffering from the COVID pandemic and we were in the four walls of our houses. And I started this online venture called entrepreneurship, where I was doing online teaching to students across the country on some basics of the innovation, entrepreneurial mindset, and leadership. So these three things I had made three bucket of attributes of 21st century skills, and I was teaching online. And I was doing two courses. One was a basic course, another was advanced course. I'll get into the detail later.
Okay.
But why entrepreneurship is more relevant from the current perspective, where there are three problems. So if I have to define the current employment situation in the country, so either people are not getting jobs, even if they are well educated, or organizations are not able to find the right people because of right skill sets not available. And even people who are in the jobs are finding it difficult to sustain because of various things, whether it is the technology or is it the automation or so many other factors which are reason for suffocation in the job. So if I have to work with the high school student or the middle school student, the best way to move forward is to not just get them educated, but also develop certain skills which are going to make them future friendly. And if I have to ask somebody to tell me what he or she want to become in the future, it's actually not a relevant question. What is required is experiential learning, getting into certain skill development as a habit, and then at an appropriate time decide what you want to become. Can we move to the next slide? So if I have to look at the magnitude of the problem, the unemployment rate is currently around 7 to 8%. And one of the prediction is that 60% of current jobs, as per McKinsey, is not going to be there in 2030. I already talked about supply and demand gap. Then graduates are getting very petty salary, or let's say some 8,000, 10,000 per month. Though there is a less unemployment in the rural areas, but farming is not getting sustainable, and that is the reason why people are moving to the cities. And right now we have 40 crores population in the cities, which is going to increase to almost 80 crores by 2050. So this problem is going to get more problematic. And when people move from rural area to urban area, they have issues like culture shock or the language problem, because all the higher educational institute are only teaching in English. Can we move to the next slide? Now, when there is a problem, then there is also an opportunity. So right now, if I look at engineering colleges, we are producing close to around 15 to 18 lakh engineering graduates every year, and 1 out of 5 are only employable for jobs. And similar kind of a scenario for other professions too. If I only talk about IITs, so IITs takes around 18,000 students every year, but right now almost 40%. If I look at the last year data of 2025, prior to that was 36%. Last year, almost 40% students were not recruited after passing the 4 years of engineering. And then there is also a problem inside the organization where we need entrepreneurs. That means people going for an entrepreneurial venture inside an organization. And there the soft skills or the 21st century skills are very, very much required. The global edtech and innovation training market is projected to be 500 billion by 2030, which is a good and a big opportunity. Can we move to the next slide? The solution lies in the skill development, and both from the point of view of 21st century skills as well as technological literacy, whether I call it as AI or any other disruptive technology I may talk to. And we need to catch them young during the teenage and make them skillful enough to carve their career in the future and develop employability traits. And I would be talking about some of the employability traits in the coming slides. We have to develop an innovative and entrepreneurial mindset. And I have been in this innovative and entrepreneurial mindset development for the last 8 years, working initially as a mentor of change with Atal Innovation Mission, Atal Tinkering Labs, and now as a regional mentor of change for Karnataka based out of Bangalore. Now, as I said that I have already gone through the 2 phases where I was teaching some 9 critical 21st century skills to students through online mode, which was basically do it yourself kind of a mode. I was just teaching them those skills, and they have to understand of their own. In the next advanced version, what I did was I did the deep dive into each of the skill and also did assessment to understand what they have really understood from the learning. And now I have moved to the phase 3, which is a kind of a coaching, moving from teaching and mentoring to coaching, where I want to work with the students in a gamified way for a period of 3 months. And I want to develop these skills as habits and see how that can improve their, whether it is scholastic ability or in terms of developing certain life skills for a better uh, life for them. Can we move to the next slide? So these are some of the employability traits which are currently required as well as in the future. So my 9 traits, 3 from leadership, 3 from innovation, and 3 from entrepreneurship, actually is taken from these employability traits, which are regularly being defined by the World Economic Forum, and I keep a watch on them. And based on this, the skill requirement are changing. So earlier it used to be from one generation to another generation, the skills requirement were changing, but now it is every 3 to 5 years, skill requirement are changing. So it's a very dynamic situation. Can move to the next slide. So these are the 9 traits which I have done in the 2 phases, that is the basic and advanced courses. Traits of an entrepreneur, developing a growth mindset, being empathetic, creativity for all. Then traits of an innovator, seeing problem as opportunities, risk-taking capabilities, mindfulness and meditation. And then traits of a leader, celebrating mistakes, encouraging and embracing collaboration, and communicating impactfully. Now, this program, which is now in the phase 3, it is going to be a after-school space filled with curiosity, high expectation, and hands-on learning. And it's more of a experiential learning. And we want to grow them as thinkers, creators, and future leaders through playful challenges and real projects. So it's a project-based learning. The go-to-market is divided into 2 parts, one for the underprivileged, another for the privileged student. So I need to partner with the government and low-income private school for the underprivileged sector, which is almost 80% of the student segment. I also need to build a cohort that is online learning, which I used to do earlier, and reach out to more people across the country sitting at Bangalore. And I need to tie up with the mid-income and premium school for the privileged student to take up innovation and entrepreneurship development. One through the Utter Tinkering Lab, and other through the online mode. The next thing which I am very much interested in to understand that how it can affect these students and how it can make a difference in their life. So the student which I have taught 5 years ago are doing extremely well, and that is kind of satisfaction which I get when I see them doing well in their career and doing exactly what we had predetermined for them, and I had set the milestone for them. So that is how I can say one of the USP for whatever I'm doing. Can we move to the next slide? So if I look at the next 3 months plan, the plan is to make a big social enterprise, which is a combination of not-for-profit for the underprivileged and for-profit for the privileged student. And right now, I have moved from the low fidelity to high fidelity prototyping stage, where I want to work with some of the underprivileged and the privileged student and get some feedback in a sense that I can develop my MVP based on that. So we can move to the next slide. So these are some of the things which has already happened in terms of impact and the progress. So I have trained some 100 innopreneurs, what I call, through the online learning mode in 1 year time frame during the COVID. And these students are doing extremely well. And then I also trained some 30 students during my work as a Teach for India fellow, where I was working as a teacher in a government school in Bangalore, teaching science and maths. And I used to do this community center or after school learning for these students. And I also did the same thing what I did for the privileged student earlier with this underprivileged, with some tweaking, because there are different requirements in terms of what you can teach and what you can share with the underprivileged. So because it cannot be just same as what you do with a privileged student. And I also worked with some of the Launchpad, innovated Launchpad recently with Teach for India and the Circle Starter program I attended just last week. So these are some of the programs where I worked on the low fidelity and the high fidelity prototype. And I figured out what are the extreme users and what their requirements are. And now I'm in a stage where I want to move to phase 3, and I am looking for funds for this, and I'm also looking for some support in terms of mentoring, as well as also some kind of a networking with the educational institutions. And I also feel that I need to get an idea about how to build my organization, because it's a mixed enterprise which I'm looking at. Thank you, and thank you for your time.
My assessment, listening to you, is that you're trying to build a nonprofit. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm trying to build a nonprofit. Correct.
So 1 million by 1 million is not the place to build a nonprofit. We build businesses. We build for-profit businesses, and our entire methodology is built around building for-profit businesses. So the guidance that I would give you, or 1 million by 1 million would be able to offer you, is not appropriate for nonprofits necessarily, because the nonprofit businesses are built with grants and philanthropy money. That's not what we do. We build businesses with business investors and customer money and so forth. So I can give you some suggestions, but I'm not sure that this is necessarily where you should be looking to for guidance. My first suggestion, that is based on the way we work, is to find schools that can pay for what you have to offer and focus on those. And that would mean that I would ask you to prioritize the segment that can afford to buy your products, your services. So if you look at your segmentation, you have underprivileged schools belonging to the government schools, so low-income private schools, 80%, and the privileged students from mid-income and high-income private schools, 20%. That's where I would advise you to go and look for customers. So whether the school pays or the parents pays, most likely the schools are going to ask the parents to pay, and that is where I would ask you to go, so that you can have a sustainable path to building this business. But if that's not what you want to do, if your higher priority and passion is to cater to the underprivileged schools and so on, I think financing that is a very different ball game. And that is not going to fit in the methodology of 1 million by 1 million. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got your point. So as I said, that when I started this venture, it was a for-profit initiative during the COVID, where I was doing online learning and I was charging fees for the basic and the advanced course which I was doing. Now, over a period of time, I realized that this problem is bigger in terms of size and in terms of the depth of the problem with respect to the underprivileged, and that's how I moved out to understand the underprivileged segment market by joining Teach for India. And then after that, I have been working closely with them, and I want to develop this as a kind of a mixed enterprise, where it is a for-profit for the privileged segment and not for profit for the underprivileged segment. But yes, I do agree that both of the business model are completely different. I come from the corporate background because I have worked in the corporate for almost 25 years. So I understand primarily for profit. I don't understand much not for profit, because my exposure to not for profit is just last 3-4 years since I joined Teach for India in 2022. So I would like your advice to how to move forward. And the point what I want to bring out here is that my idea is not to just support the underprivileged, but also the privileged. They have already been doing earlier, almost 5 years back, and
If
I want
focus
some
on
advice on that.
if you focus on the for-profit business, and if you go for the K through 12 students in privileged schools, then it's a very traditional K through 12 ed tech business. And the more you can do it with technology, the better. Then you have to build a product, and it sounds like you have done some amount of teaching already using some kind of an online course. You have to you have some experience there, and I think that is your starting point of selling that to for-profit schools. And I mean, if you're trying to do after-school activities, that is not an ed tech product. That is, you are trying to get people to be in a space, and you need people. That's a very different business. That's not an ed tech business. That's an education business, and those businesses are not going to be that scalable. You can do it. There's no hard. Not everything needs to be scalable. Just be aware of the fact that if you're trying to build something very scalable and hyper growth, that is not doable unless you have the business model of a hyper growth business. And especially if you have intentions of trying to raise money from venture capitalists, that is only viable if you can go from $0 to $100 million in 5 to 7 years. And that is an incredibly difficult trajectory to follow. So whatever business you choose to do, please do not assume that you can raise venture capital for it, because unless you have that kind of hypergrowth trajectory, it's not going to scale so fast. And this business is not going to be a hyperscalable business. So your option is mostly to bootstrap. And to bootstrap, my advice would be to work with schools, and schools that have students whose parents can afford to buy your product and your service. And it's okay if it doesn't scale so fast. You're building a bootstrap business. You don't need to scale so fast. That's okay. That's pretty much my assessment of what your options are. Now, if you're trying to go after the underprivileged sector and all that, then you have to figure out the government grants available, or whatever grants, philanthropic grants, whatever you can raise to do this business. But this is not what we do. We don't.
What's your advice that if I have to register my organization as a company, so what kind of a company or what kind of an enterprise it would be, considering both the thing in the mind?
No, I don't think both the things in the mind is going to work, because if you're trying to raise grants, then a for-profit enterprise does not usually raise grants. You're not going to, non-profits get the grants, the philanthropic grants go to non-profits. Now, the government of India has a lot of skill development budget, and those actually are not limited to not-for-profits. Those can be, you can apply for those for profits as well. But that's something you're going to have to investigate, is what grants are available that you can plug into.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Next is Levi Rivers from Shreveport, Los Angeles. Okay, Levi.
Hi, I'm Levy, and I'm the founder of Velocity Match. I'm not here pitching an idea, so to say, I'm here because I've already built something.
Okay.
I have clients, and I need capital to grow at this point. So everything that you need to know when it comes to me can be really summed up in the 17 plus years experience that I have in sales, recruiting, and marketing. And it's everything that I've observed in that experience that birthed Velocity Match.
That is not the way to start a pitch. Explain first what you are doing before you go into this much money I want to raise for this reason. I'm not interested. I'm interested in first learning, what is it that you're doing? What problem are you solving?
Okay, so should we go to the next slide? Slide 2. This is the problem that we're solving. In trucking in the United States, there has been characterized a job shortage for trucking. I don't necessarily see it as a job shortage. I see it more as a mismatch in incentives and what is driving truckers to look for carriers and what carriers are actually looking for. And when you look at the numbers, there are almost 3.5 million CDL holders in the United States.
What is CDL? I don't even know what CDL is.
Excellent. That's commercial driving license.
Okay.
Here in the United States, in order to use or operate a machine that's that can haul over 16,000 pounds, you have to have licensure in order to do that. So they just don't let anybody with a regular license, get it behind a 18-wheeler, truck that is about almost 80,000 pounds, and just drive. You have to go through a process, and that process results in a CDL, or commercial driver license. Carriers currently are using tools that are really meant to generate clicks. They're not necessarily meant and designed to create matches. So what happens is that drivers they look for jobs, they find jobs that don't meet their needs. The carrier is dissatisfied, the driver is dissatisfied, and the cycle continues and the cycle goes on. Carriers in that process are spending almost $12,000 to replace one driver, and they're waiting almost 60 days in order to fill that seat. The issue is that, again, the system that's meant to connect them is completely broken. The drivers exist, and that's what Velocity Match is here to do. Is actually here to solve that problem. Next slide, please. As a service, we place CDL Class A drivers for just $1,200, and that's a fraction of what staffing agencies would charge. That's a fraction of what commercial carriers, motor carriers, the companies that operate and hire CDL Class A drivers to drive their trucks, would normally spend on hiring an internal recruiter. Everything that's involved with employing a human being, and that cost, what we have, or at least what we present and what we've been able to actually build traction on, of $1,200, is obviously a huge reduction in what they normally spend, which anywhere between $8,000 to $24,000. We have eliminated all the inefficiencies that everybody else charges for, and we use AI matching our platform in order to handle the screening, the qualification, and the fit scoring in hours instead of weeks. We also provide a 30-day guarantee, which isn't a risk play. It's really a signal. When we match the right driver with the right carrier, the driver stays, the company stops bleeding money. Next slide, please. Our target customer has been and will continue to be, and as we grow, maybe it will be different, but our target customer is a carrier that's running between 50 to 250 trucks. And currently they're in no man's land because they're too big to do like casual recruiting or just use job boards, but they're too small at the same time to afford an enterprise hiring software. Nobody built anything for them. And currently, because of that, they're bleeding in turnover. Currently, most carriers that are in this range, and just to put a scope on the actual TAM, or put a scope on it, carriers that have between 50 and 250 trucks, that number in about 26,000 right now. In total, there are 600,000 trucking companies throughout the United States that are authorized through the Federal Motor Carrier Association, a safety association. So there's a huge supply of potential clients. With that being said, these clients are currently bleeding money at the tune of $1,200 per hire, and this is a customer that we built Velocity Match for. This is our lane. What we see is that with just 400 to 500 potential customers by year 3, our gross revenue should be around $16 million. Year 1, 743,000. Year 2, about $7 million in revenue, and that year 2 projection is simply having about 240 customers. Again, in our range, there are about 26,000 available customers. Can we go to the next slide? All right, now, well, the process of customer acquisition or getting more clients is asymmetrical because we have to have drivers on the platform, of which we currently have 3,000 plus, and we have to also have carriers on the platform, which we have over 25. We have carriers on the platform, which are over 25,000 that are FMCSA approved, and we've already done data enrichment through various means, mostly AI. But getting drivers and getting carriers is a completely different problem. So we treat them exactly that way. Drivers are a volume play. So when we're looking at and what we've done, what exists is efforts and campaigns that we've run already through Meta ads, TikTok, as well as like Facebook CDL communities. There's Reddit communities. There's a lot of different ways that we can interact and engage drivers. And we already know what the cost, or at least the CPL, the cost per lead is, and that's $16.28. Carriers, that's more of a trust play. You're talking about, at least in the United States, most companies are, and especially in the range that we're talking about, 50 to 250 trucks. These are people that want to shake your hand. They want to look you in the eye. They want to know that they can trust you before they hand over their hiring pipeline, because they know intimately that if there is no driver, and people speak of automation, and it will come one day, but as of today, there's 3.58 million drivers out there. They want to know before we hand that over and we give you the lifeblood, which is the driver. We want to know that you can do that. We want to look you in the eye. We want to see you a couple of times. So that's a completely different approach. Next slide, please.
I have a question on what you just said. What is an average deal size from your target customer, your ideal customer profile? Let's say this Allure Trucking is your ideal customer profile. What is an average deal size from a company like this?
On average, a client will seek at least 5 hires. That's about, that's about $6,000. So on average, our deal size is about $6,000.
Okay, keep going.
As of today, in terms of customer validation, we have already accumulated or already generated about $31,000 in Stripe verified revenue over 11 paying carriers. So that's not a projection. That's not a pilot. That's real money. One of those carriers, Allure Trucking, that's out of Rockwall, Texas, has come back about 31 times over the last 13 months. And what that tells us is that not only is the customer satisfied, but they're dependent. We have another contract pending as of today. And that's exactly the kind of relationship that we want to model and create and duplicate over and over again. Next slide, please.
Let me start giving you feedback. I think I've understood what you're trying to do, and I think I can give you feedback that would be helpful. I don't think this is a fundable situation at all, for the reason that several reasons. Number one is that this business model is not going to scale. If you, for $6,000 clients, average deal size clients, if you have to do in-person selling, that is not a fast growth business model. And investors understand that. Investors have a thumb rule. The kinds of investors that we work with are tech investors. They have a thumb rule. If you have a relatively small average deal size, and 6,000 is considered very small average deal size. I'm talking about under $100,000 average deal size. That deal size has to be sold online through tele-web sales, as I call it, telephone, web, web conferencing, Zoom, whatever, but you have to sell it without shaking people's hands. If you need to shake people's hands, you better have a very large average deal size that is above $100,000. And if that's not the case, then your unit economics of building a profitable, fast growth business does not work. So any investor looking at this and listening to you saying that your deal size is $6,000 and you have to shake hands before people are going to buy from you, they will immediately decide that no, this is not a venture scale business. This is not going to scale fast, and this is not going to be a profitable unit economics model. So that's point number one.
Mm-hmm.
Point number two is that the AI industry believes that one of the first categories that is going to get fully automated is trucking from a driverless truck point of view. So this industry that you want to go into and sell into is an industry that the AI world thinks is ripe for automation. And there is a lot of pushback on this hypothesis on the timeline. You know, it's not clear how soon, it's not clear what is the regulation aspect of it, it's not clear what is going to be the adoption aspect of it, and so on and so forth. However, self-driving cars are working. And self-driving trucks are working from a technology readiness point of view. So
currently there are 400 self-driving trucks that are out on the roads, and they're in somewhere between less than 10 specific lanes. I'm in Louisiana. Texas happens to be, right next to us. So those lanes are primarily in Texas and some in Nevada. So just to put this into perspective, there are
doesn't really matter what is the current situation. Investors do not invest in current situations. Investors invest with what assumptions do they have is going to happen in the next 1, 2, 3, 5, 7 years. Remember what I said early on. VCs are looking to go from 0 to $100 million in 5 to 7 years. And if this industry is going to disappear in 3 years, 5 years, then investors don't want to take that kind of risk. So you have two issues. You have a micro issue, which is your business model does not have a fast growth, profitable unit economics because of the way you need to sell this. That's number one. And number two is there is the macro issue of the industry disappearing and changing fundamentally to an AI automated self-driving truck industry, in which case your value proposition goes away. So I don't think this is going to be possible to fund. However, you have a window for sure where you can bootstrap this business. You already have revenues and you can continue to build this business, and it's going to grow organically. You are already selling, which is great. I love the fact that you're already selling, and you just continue to bootstrap your business and build your business in a bootstrap way, and there's no problem with that. But be aware of the fact that at one point it is possible that your business is going to disappear because of what happens in the industry. But in the meantime, there's nothing stopping you from making money of solving this problem. And that's a perfectly fine bootstrap situation. Okay.
I mean, I obviously fundamentally disagree with that entirely, because I am.
As I said in the onset, you can disagree all you want with me. I can give you what I think. I cannot give you what you think, and that is not what I'm going to give you. So you can think whatever you want. You can do whatever you want with my feedback. You can discard it. You can do whatever you want. This is my feedback. You asked me you came here for my feedback. I'm just giving you my feedback. You can disagree all you want with it. Okay?
Yes,
all right. Let me explain to you how to use 1M for those of you who are looking to use 1M for, advancing your agenda. We are a virtual accelerator, 100% virtual. So anybody can use this program from anywhere in the world. You go to 1Mby1M.com and everything is available through that. Our Digital Mind AI Mentor, you can access this also through the 1M1M site, is something that is available to you 24/7. You can work with it in any language you want to, pretty much 57 languages. That covers most languages. Our premium program is a full 1-year acceleration program that includes strategy consulting in this mode. So if you are trying to develop to a point where you become fundable, that is something we help you do. Most companies who come to us are not fundable out of the gate. We get them there, and when they get there, we introduce them to investors. But there is a lot of nuance in what is considered fundable, what investors would be willing to look at as a fundable deal. So that is something that you have to put one foot before the other and get to. And that's something we help you do through these kinds of interactions on a weekly basis. And then if and when you get ready and you're fundable, then we introduce you to investors. There is a curriculum that is very efficient and very rich. It is a case study-based curriculum. It is actionable. You can, many of you basically are presenting top-down TAM numbers. Top-down TAM is irrelevant. All of you, if you want to approach investors, would need to learn how to do bottom-up TAM analysis. And bottom-up TAM analysis is something we teach you in the program. And many other aspects, like if you're trying to do a repeatable sales process, repeatability is a requirement for fundability. If you're trying to build a repeatable sales process for B2B sales, we have that in the curriculum, and you can learn. A lot of people just learn it from the curriculum and implement it, and that works very well as well. These are examples of the kind of curriculum we have available. So 1Mby1M Premium is our full acceleration program, and it costs $1,000 in annual membership fee. We have a curriculum-only version, which is 1Mby1M Basic, that is $99 a month. Both Premium and Basic include the AI Mentor that is available 24/7 in 57 languages. So by all means, you can use that with both. And you can also buy the AI Mentor subscription independently at $30 a month. So go to the website, look around. I've given you the gist of what's there. If you're looking for one-on-one consulting, that is much more expensive. That's $1,000 an hour. So we don't necessarily advise you in that direction, but if you're obsessed about privacy and so on, some people ask for it, and that's fine. We have it available. Upcoming free roundtables, public roundtables, are March 19th, 26th, April 2nd, and 9th. So all 4 upcoming Thursdays, we have roundtables. Register if you're planning to pitch, and I'll work with you accordingly. Maureen will schedule you. If you have questions about the program after today, you can ask Irina Patterson, irina@1mby1m.com. She'll be happy to talk to you on WhatsApp and so forth. So that's it. If anybody has questions further, I will be happy to answer. We have time. Anyone? Question? No? All right. Well, we're going to wrap up then. I look forward to working with you next time. Bye, everybody. Thanks for coming.
Bye.